In an earlier video, we had a look at the sales pipeline and how that works in simple sales tracking. And this time I want to dig a little deeper into each of the stages and look at the kinds of information that we can store. So let's start off. Actually, we'll go back to Doe Enterprises. This is the record that we worked through when we were uh, going through that last video. So let's have another look at this. So we populated it with some very basic information. And why don't we fill this out with a little bit more information? So let's give it an address. City could be city, state, zip, USA. Okay, so we can do that. Um, we can store more information about, for example, their LinkedIn account, or in fact, we can just store something in there just so we can see the way it works. We can store an additional address. We can add some extra details about them. Actually, something we didn't talk about was cloning a record. We won't get into a lot of details, but basically, if you want to make a copy of this account and then just change just a few details, you can clone it, and just makes it easier to do that rather than retyping the information. You can see now the information we added about the person, or about this company rather, a link to their LinkedIn profile. We can find an image to upload, so let's try doing that. Okay, so I just grabbed the logo, and it's just a logo that I happen to have sitting on my desktop, but it's automatically resized and cropped it to fit into the space. And if I didn't want that logo, I could easily remove it. In that other video, we talked about contacts and associated contacts. Let's say, for example, though, we had another contact that we wanted to associate it with this company. So let's say there was James Fred, and say he might be he's a customer, but he might be a product specialist. And so we can save that. Now, because Fred doesn't already exist in the system, it's actually going to create his contact record automatically. So if we click on Fred here, open it in a new window, we've actually got a new contact record for Fred, and it's also made the association. If we went to, let's see who else we've got in here. Say John Helton here. So if we, although it's a different company, but just for argument's sake here, if we wanted to add or associate John Helton, we just begin typing his name, and it comes up with that his name because it's already existing in the system, and we'd choose it. And if we did that, it's not going to create a new contact record for John. It's just going to associate the existing one with with our account. Okay, so similarly, we've got appointments and we've got tasks. So we'll do one where we add an appointment from here. So meet with John. We can set the type of meeting that we're going to have. Let's see, when are we going to do it? Let's say we meet with them on the 15th from 11 until, okay, it's populated 11:30, but it's actually going to be 12. And we save it, and it's going to automatically associate that with this appointment with the account. And if we go to the calendar and we go to next week, we can see that appointment is already in there. If we wanted to change the time of that appointment, we can actually just move it around and change the time. For some reason, it disappeared because I lost my. It went back to the current week. So I assume knowing that it'll do that. Another thing you can do is actually double click anywhere on the calendar and create a new appointment. Let's make it a call actually, and we'll change the meeting type to call. And we can actually go back and find Doe Enterprises. We could have left it without. We could create an appointment without associating it with an account, but let's do that anyways. And now if we go back to our account, let's go back here. We'll go to the start page because then it shows in our recently viewed. we can see a few things. We can see we've got our 2 appointments that we just added, one directly through the calendar and one through this plus icon. Um, it's actually added some information into our activity feed about the appointments that we added. And we could add a um, note to self, for example, or it could be somebody else in the team saying great work getting the meeting organized. Whatever is helpful to paint a picture for the history of the relationship with this customer. Um, After the meeting, you might write a meeting follow up and say, meeting with John went yes for proposal. Let's say that. So save that, and that's going to keep that history. So we might come in here and say, okay, write proposal for John, and we're going to say that that's due whenever it's going to be due, and save it. It'll now turn up in our list, and we can see how much progress we've had towards it. We can see that the status is in progress. In fact, if we go back to the start page, you can see that task is now in our start page tasks. In another video, we talk about the start page and the information that's on here, but it's just worth mentioning that that stuff is on here already. If that task becomes complete, of course we can check it off as complete. So we check the text box, it shows automatically that it's complete. Messages, we also went over this in an earlier video, but essentially you're tracking email communications. I can open this up and have a look and see here's an email that I had with John. So it's keeping that conversation history. And finally, uploading files. So you have the ability to upload any kind of file, PDFs and Word documents or photos. There's a limit on file size. It's the software deliberately the software is not designed to replace a document storage solution that you might have, but anything that's relevant to the sale, proposals and sign-offs and that kind of thing is really helpful to have as part of linked directly in the system. Then, just like accounts, a detail page for opportunity and leads work the same way. Now, in earlier videos, we actually looked at the list pages as well, and most of this is self-explanatory. But something worth mentioning is the filtering. So if you choose one of these boxes, you'll actually filter by those results. So say for example we only want to see records where we're assigned the ownership of it. We could choose from the list our name, owner, and then see, okay, that's just for us. Or I could go and look for product categories. Page settings is another one. So if we can actually choose which columns of data we want to include in here. So right now we're not including lead source, but if I choose that, I can now see lead source as an option. If I click on the column header here, I can rearrange the sort order of the columns. There's quite a bit of things you can do on this page. I can reset the defaults by just clicking clear filter. You've also got the option to perform bulk actions. So you've got you could delete the records. You could reassign ownership. So say those should all belong to Gary. You could do that and just click go, and that would reassign that ownership. Finally, one thing we might have a look at, we had a look at the calendar and how that works already. Tasks, similarly, they show in the list. By default, it's showing here all of my tasks, including completed ones. So I may want to choose just those that are in progress. So in progress, and then it'll just show those for me. Files, we haven't actually walked through uploading a file. Again, it's pretty straightforward. You upload files directly from a lead, opportunity, or account, not from there isn't an ability to upload files directly from within the files page. If there are any files that you want to share with the entire team that isn't related specifically to a to a sale, then you can do that. The admin person can do that from the My Resources page. So again, we actually talked about this in another video as well, but you can upload files that are used by the team, say templates, for example, directly from here. So that covers some of the nitty-gritty of the accounts and opportunities and leads. Thanks for watching.